Hello and welcome. This is the Marilyn Devonish Mindset Minute. And these are mini transformation sessions and segments and processes. Now, I'm creating some of these initially for my monthly coaching group. So the first one we did was a Swish Pattern, and I did the audio, then created a video to go with it so people could visually see the process. And I'm probably going to do the same with this one. And with some of them, I'll put them out into the public domain so people can test them before I send it to my monthly coaching group. So this one is abductive thinking, and it's an NLP process and technique. NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And there are 11 steps. So first things first, I'm going to suggest that you get a glass of water or a bottle of water and have a drink. So I'm going to grab my water and do exactly that. Why? Because it's good to be hydrated for these processes. And for the therapists out there, you probably know about reverse polarity. So water is a very good way to counteract that. So if you're sitting comfortably, you can also do this lying down. You can do it eyes open. You can do it eyes closed. Personally, I prefer to be relaxed and do it eyes closed so that you don't have any outside distractions. And when we do the online group coaching session, the next one, or whichever one I slot this into, I will give you a different way to do this process, which really takes it up another level. So let's get into it. And if you need to pause and get yourself comfortable, do that now and then press play. Number one. And let me grab my pencil so I can tick these off as I go. So number one, you are going to think of an issue, a problem, a challenge. And given that you're doing this as a recording, if we were doing it one-to-one, I would say, come with your biggest problem. This is a recording. So choose something that's annoying, but it's not the biggest thing that's going on in your life. That would be my suggestion. And also, just to say before we get into this, I'm going to make a disclaimer. This is not providing medical treatment. This is not providing you with therapy. This is not giving you instructions about what to do. This is for entertainment purposes only. And if you are in a place and a space with regards to your mindset, then seek professional help, whether that be your doctor, physician, GP, coach, therapist, whatever it might be. This is not intended to be in a replacement for therapy. So with that said, let's restart with number one. So number one, identify a problem, situation, or challenge that you're having. And my suggestion, to get the ball rolling, you can think about it. And if you like to, for therapeutic purposes, it's actually quite nice to write things down. It gets it out of your head. So you can think about it or just write down, what is the challenge for you? So the example might be, I don't know, inability to relax or inability to focus, let's say. So I give you a few moments to do that, to think about it or to write it down. It can just be one word, or, a little short sentence. So when you've got that, number two, think about a physical location which is related to the problem situation. So let's just say the problem might be that you are being bullied at work, or somebody is intimidating you, or you feel overwhelmed. Then you can imagine, because we're using the imagination here, you can imagine yourself in your office with the feeling of, let's go with overwhelm. So with the feeling of overwhelm. So that's step two. And I'll give you a moment. After each step, I'll give you a few moments just to get yourself into that, conjure it up, bring it to mind. And really imagine that you're there, you're in it, you can see what's going around you, you can feel what's happening, you notice how you're feeling inside. What are the thoughts? What are the feelings? What are the emotions? Where do you feel it in the physical body? Where and how does it show up in the mind? And it might be, it almost feels like a heavy cloud, or the sword of Damocles hanging over your head, for example. step 3 is now step out of the problem state location, the PSL. So step out of the problem state location. So rather than being in it and seeing it, hearing it, feeling it, breathing it, you step out of it, almost as though you're looking at yourself. You're one step removed now. You're no longer what we call in NLP terms fully associated into it. So it's almost like looking at yourself having the problem. Step 4. Think about something that is completely unrelated that you do, that you enjoy doing. It gives you a sense of fun, passion. It brings out your creativity, joy, laughter, happiness, whatever it is. Now, for me, for example, it might be dancing. So I would go with that one. It could be another one, I think, ballet. It could be I've never been skiing, but if you're a skier, it might be skiing, where you just have that sense of freedom as you're going down the slopes and take on the piste and all the rest of it. So you think of a situation completely unrelated to the problem, and it's something that really gives you a sense of, it might give you a sense of identity. You might, identify with this particular thing. But something that you feel passionate about, something that you feel happy when you're doing, something that brings you a sense of joy, bring that to mind now. And just start imagining the scenario. So for example, with this one, I could imagine myself having a really good time on the dance floor. Step 5. Now you've identified the physical location, this place, this space that brings you a sense of joy, passion, fun, creativity, etc. Imagine it's in front of you and you step into it. So suddenly you are on the ski slopes. You are on the dance floor. You are in the park playing with your children, your grandchildren, your pets, or simply relaxing and taking in the sun, whatever it might be. And step into it as though you're seeing it, hearing it, feeling it, experiencing every single delicious moment of it as though you're looking through your own eyes. You're in it, fully associated. And this is what we call the resource location. You feel resourceful and empowered in this location. Step 6. From this resource location, as though you're living it, breathing it, seeing it. Now, if you're on the ski slope, slow down a moment and just stand still. But what you do is you look over at the problem situation. So let's just say the problem situation is on the left, for example. The resource location is on the right. So you could be standing opposite and you're looking back at the problem situation. However, you are now in a resourceful place. And so in the context of being in a more resourceful place, doing something you absolutely love, that you feel confident at, you're competent at it, you're good at it, you might even be an expert at it. Now you look back at the problem, the sense where, let's say, you're feeling completely overwhelmed. And then you think, from my resourceful position, if someone were, let's say, completely overwhelmed, and now I'm on the dance floor feeling confident, or on the ski slopes feeling amazing, having that sense of freedom, what could you do to deal with the overwhelm? So it might just be, let's say, if you're on the dance floor, you just let yourself go. They say dance like nobody's watching. If you were on the ski slopes and you keep, the skis keep crossing, then maybe you just focus on, okay, let's focus on getting that one of the skis in alignment, getting my sense of balance, feeling my sense of gravity. And then when I've got that, I'm going to balance the other one. Let's say I was in ballet class. It's like, well, the teacher used to say, go left, the other left. So you then go, okay, in terms of having just done a pirouette and spun around a few times, what's going to be the thing that reminds me which way is left, which way is right? It sounds like I'm joking. I'm totally not. So you then think about, how would I resolve this from the resourceful space? And so on the dance floor, let's say, probably take a breath, probably have a drink of water. If you've really been working up a sweat, you wipe the sweat from your brow. You kind of laugh, you hear a particular track that you love, and you're like, yes, love this one. So now you translate what you're thinking into the overwhelm situation. On the ski slopes, when you feel free, when there's that sense of, oh wow, the views must be amazing. I've only seen it on TV. But you think, right, once I've got my sense of balance, once I've got my sense of gravity, what's the next thing I would do? Okay, well, I would, then focus on my posture, because your center of gravity, I imagine, is quite important. Then I would focus on one of the, I would say, important things as a beginner. If I were going skiing, I'd want to know how to stop as well as how to start. How do I stop? Because it's all right getting a head of steam up, but you've got to be able to know how to stop. So you're kind of mastering it in little stages. The same can be said of overwhelm. What's the first thing that happens when you feel overwhelmed? It might be the body tightens up. So if you're on the ski slope, what are you going to do if you feel yourself tightening up? Well, you're probably going to relax. On the ski slope, if you find yourself not breathing, or on the dance floor, if you find yourself not breathing, what's the first thing you're going to do? Where are you going to breathe? And so you start thinking from the perspective of being resourceful. How do you solve the problem from your resourceful state? What would you do if you were locking up on the ski slopes? What would you do if you're feeling overwhelmed on the dance floor? What would you do if you were frozen when you're in the middle of the park? So you solve a problem that's got nothing to do with the real problem. You're solving a skiing problem. You're solving a dancing problem. You're solving I'm playing with the kids or playing with the dog problem. So again, I'm going to be silent for a bit and just start to think about, choose whichever example you want. I've given you a few examples, not to confuse you, but just to kind of say, okay, this is the sort of thing that I'm thinking of. You can choose one of those examples. You can choose something completely different. And my suggestion, I've never been skiing, for example, but I know there are probably people that have. So I wouldn't necessarily choose that, because I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm just ad-libbing for to give you some examples. I would choose something that I'm very proficient at. Let's say you play tennis, volleyball, pickleball, football, cricket. You might sew, knit, crochet, braid hair. Choose something that you are good at, and then say, whatever the problem is, if I were feeling overwhelmed when I was doing my crochet, what would I do? How would I solve it in terms of the context of crocheting? If I were feeling stressed and anxious or frozen when I'm playing cricket, what would I do? How would I resolve that? If I were, struggling with concentration and focus when I was swimming, what would I do? How would I resolve that in the context of swimming? So hopefully that makes sense. Stay in the context of the resource state. Translate the problem over and solve the problem in terms of your resourceful state. So I'll be quiet, give you a minute or so just to, and do it as a brainstorm, just like, I do this, 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 and just list those things out. And you can do it, list them in your head, or to get a bit more bang for your buck, you can write them out as well. So off you go, and I'll give you about a minute. And for this one, I'm going to grab my stopwatch. Okay, let me pull that up. Here we go, here we go. Right, so you've got a minute to do some problem solving. Solving a problem from your resourceful state. So you're solving the problem as though you're skiing, diving, dancing, whatever, but you're solving the problem that you had in the problem state. So your 1 minute starts now. And this is the point, if we were on, let's say, a live webinar, somebody would say, what are we doing again? So I'm going to just reiterate for anyone who's going, duh, what you're going to be doing, let's just say the problem is you're feeling overwhelmed, where you're going to put yourself into your resourceful activity, be it the skiing, the dancing, the diving, the crochet, and you would say, if I was overwhelmed when I was skiing, how will I solve that problem? If I couldn't concentrate when I was on the pitch, playing whatever game you're proficient at, and I was feeling overwhelmed, how would I solve that problem? If I were diving into a beautiful, gorgeous swimming pool, and I was feeling overwhelmed, how would I solve the problem in the context of diving? And then write down, say out loud, or think whatever comes to mind. And also, in the context of your resourceful state, think of your problem like a metaphor. So with the skiing, for example, the being stuck, feeling overwhelmed might be like getting your skis crossed. In the context of ballet, it's like going left when everyone's going to the right. In the context of, I don't know, crochet, I don't crochet either, but I got friends who do crochet. But in the context of crochet, it might be getting your stitches in a twist and doing them all the way wrong way round. In the context of, let's say, running, athletics, it's freezing when the starter gun goes so you don't get yourself off to a good start, or you're in the wrong position, so it takes you longer to build up that head of steam and really go for it, and those seconds can be crucial. So come up with a metaphor from your resource state with your original problem. What is it like? What's a metaphor that could identify it? So the metaphor is in the context of the resource activity. So it might be, for example, if you come back to skiing, it might be just focus on controlling one ski and getting your center of gravity right with that. If the context was the skis were crossing. So come up with a metaphor. When I'm thinking about dancing, I'm thinking about the candy dance, where I've done it I've never learnt the candy dance. I really possibly should, because they play it pretty much everywhere you go if you're doing the 80s, 90s club night, even the 2000s, because it's a floor filler. But there can be times in the candy dance, everyone's doing hop, skip, turn left, and I might do hop, skip, turn to the side, for example. So in that instance, I'd be like, okay, the metaphor is like turning to the side when everyone's turning to the left during the candy dance. That would be a metaphor for it. And also, where it's something like that, there's always someone else who's done the same as me, or they're in another direction different to the crowd. We just have a little giggle to ourselves. So just start to notice when you're in a resourceful state, what does it feel like to be resourceful? And notice the difference. Notice your posture when you're feeling resourceful. Notice how you're thinking. Notice how you're feeling. Notice what it's like energetically. When I think about giggling at the candy dance, I feel light. It's not a big deal. It's not serious. It's a dance, for goodness sake. So it's fun, it's light, it's playful, it's joyful. The body is in free expression mode. So just really think about, what do you like if you are on the ski slopes, if you are dancing? You might be a writer, a poet, and you just get into that wonderful flow state. What does it feel like to be resourceful? And really feel it, live it, breathe it, soak in every delicious moment, the thoughts, the feelings, the neurology, the cells. Step number 9, for those who are counting. Step number 9, you're going to step into what we call the meta position. So let's just say the problem's on the right, the resourceful state is on the problem's on the left, was what I said last time. The resourceful state is on the right, R for resourceful. And then, almost like a peak of a triangle, you're going to have what we call the meta state. And the meta position is you are standing and you can see both what's on the left and what's on the right. So imagine you step out of the resourceful state and you're almost like walking now to this meta position. And you now look at both the resourceful state and the problem state, and you're just starting to think about it in the context of the actual problem situation. How can you use the metaphor, and how can you use your strategy and approach from the resourceful state? So let me say that in a slightly different way, just in case anyone's like, huh? You're looking, you're observing, you're saying, right, from the point of view where I am resourceful, how would I solve this actual problem? How would I solve the problem of being overwhelmed? How would I solve the problem of lacking focus? How would I solve the problem of being stuck? How would I solve the problem of freezing? Let's say you're scared of public speaking. Your problem is you freeze when a microphone goes on, or you have to go on stage, or where it's your turn to contribute to the meeting, for example. So with that meta position, you're saying, right, from what I've gleaned from being in a resourceful state, doing something I'm good at, something that I'm competent at, something that I'm good at, something I'm even an expert at, now when I look at the original problem, what solutions can I bring to the table? What strategies can I use? And how can I solve that metaphor? And almost imagine you've got a metaphorical toolkit. So you're going to put all those solutions in it. So it might be you have the belt around your waist, like if you're a workman or work person, workwoman, you have all the tools around your waist, or you've got them in a kit bag, or you run them neurologically, mentally. And then what you're going to do for step number 10, you're going to now step into the problem situation. For example, feeling overwhelmed or problems controlling your skis or freezing at the thought of public speaking, whatever it might be, and stepping into the problem situation. However, you're now stepping into it with resources, with strategies, with tips, with ideas. And apply those tips and strategies and ideas to the problem situation and see yourself solving this problem. Putting those ideas and thoughts and tips and strategies into action. And not all of them, it's not going to be a one size fits all. You might try that one and go, oh, okay, that feel a bit better. Do another one, put another one into practice. It's almost like a turnkey operation. Put that in, turn the handle, see what happens. Put the next strategy in, turn the handle, see what happens. So just try a few, well, not try, do it. Put a few of those strategies on for size. And mentally see yourself running the solution scenario. Feel what it feels like to have solved this issue, this problem, this challenge. Hear what you're saying to yourself when you have now solved and resolved it and you feel different about it. And even notice what other people are saying to you. And notice which of the solutions feels better. Which of the solutions is the easiest for you? Which of the solutions is the most fun, the most enjoyable? And put them all on for size. Like being in a change room, you've got a pile of clothes, you're going to put them all on one by one and go have a look in the mirror, left, right, front, on, sitting down in it if it's something, you're going to be required to sit down. Could be a skirt, could be a pair of trousers, but if they're too tight when you sit down, you're like, no, look good on the hanger. This is not the solution. This is not the one for me. So imagine that you're in a metaphorical changing room of your mind. Oh, that used to be a TV show, Changing Rooms, but it was about houses. With Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen, I recall. So put them all on, give them a go, road test them, and see which of them you like, which is a keeper. And funnily enough, and this is a true story, I was in TK Maxx a couple of days ago in terms of real-time recording this, and I noticed in the changing room they've now got 3 additional hooks. One is a thumbs up, one is a thumbs down, and one was a question mark. And it might have been a love heart rather than a thumbs up, but I was like, oh, that's very cool, because oftentimes when you are in the changing room, you put something on, you go, oh my god, it's a total yes, and that goes on to the thumbs up love heart hook. There's another one where you're like, like there are times where it's like, oh no, this jacket is so tight I can't even think about doing it up. That goes on the no pile, the thumbs down. And then you've got a couple of question marks where you're like, I'm going to put that on again and see how I look, see how it feels, notice how it fits, etc., etc. You can do exactly the same with this in terms of the new thoughts, ideas, strategies, etc. And then step number 11, legs 11, for those of you who used to do bingo, well, at least here in the UK, you can repeat the process using other resource activities. So if you're feeling better about the problem already, great. Well done, high five, give yourself a pat on the back, do the happy dance, move along. And if you're like, oh, the problem's still got a little bit of a charge to it, find a different resource situation, do exactly the same thing again, resolve it from the point of the resources, solving a different problem, then applying what you've learned to the problem situation. And you can run that 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And, I've left a little bit more time because I'm explaining to you what to do. However, once you get the hang of this and the gist of it, you can probably do it in a few minutes, 3, 4 minutes. Maybe quicker once you really get into the thick of it, because we're playing with the power of the mind, the imagination, the brain, the neurology, and it can work at warp speed for my Star Trek fans out there. Right, well, I will leave it there. If you happen to be listening to this as the demo before I send it to my online monthly coaching group, I would really appreciate your feedback. So if you happen to be listening to this on YouTube, you can put your feedback in the comments. If you're on my Facebook page, and again, you can use the comments or you can DM me. If you're on LinkedIn, exactly the same comments, private message, or if you're on my e-newsletter list, then just reply to the e-newsletter as well. And yeah, so I'll probably put this on a little temporary page and leave it open for a set amount of time for those who want to have a listen. And then, of course, as I did with the Swish Pattern, I'll send you the file, the MP3 or the MP4, if I add visuals to this and create it as a video as well. So you can get a visual representation of what it looks like to do this process. So I shall leave it there. Thank you so much for playing along. Thank you for listening. And if you haven't met you before, my name is Marilyn Devonish, the NeuroSuccess Coach. It's Marilyn for November. Same spelling as Marilyn as in Marilyn Monroe. Devonish, it's a Devon with an ISH on the end. So DEVONISH. And my main website is transformationstm.com. That's TRANCE, as in hypnotic trance, because I'm also a hypnotherapist. So TRANCE, F for Freddy, FOR MATIONS TM.com. So transformationstm.com. It's my old archive site. It is as old as it looks. That site went up in very early 2001. So coming up to 26 years ago, if you're watching this and listening to this in real time. Click the red What's New button. That is where you'll find, as it says on the button, things that are new, what's coming up, if I'm running an event, webinar. And of course, the easiest way to keep up to date, because of what's new, I probably haven't updated it for the last 6 or 7 weeks, but of course, there have been things happening since then. So the easiest way is to just put yourself on my e-newsletter list. And once you're on the transformationstm.com homepage, if you look top left, you'll see a box where you can put yourself on my e-newsletter list, which is free. You get advanced notification. When I launch something, you get your 10% e-newsletter savings discount code. So yes, let me know how you get on with this process. Marilyn Devonish, the NeuroSuccess coach, rapid transformation specialist and futurist from transformationstm.com. Over and out.